Hello and welcome to another edition of Old Dude Knows. Before we start out with what we're going to talk about today, I have a couple of things I've been thinking about that I need to put out there. First of all, I went to the gala last night for New City Christian Academy. Anyway, it's like NCCA, which on a football Saturday, NCAA, I get all confused. But anyway, it is a classical Christian school here in the Quad Cities. There are a couple of other good Christian schools that I know of here in the Quad Cities. I don't think any of them match up really that well with New City. But anyway, out to all you parents and grandparents, if you're still sending your kids to a government school or a government indoctrinational center and your area has the opportunity and you have the finances, in Iowa the finances aren't a problem, but in other places they might be, please send your children to a private school if you possibly can. For people my age, I was in high school when the Department of Education was started. The Department of Education silly rules did not make it to Michigan before I graduated. Even my kids, who are now in their late 30s, it's different than when they went to school. If you can do anything at all, please get your children out of public school into Christian schools. Not all Christian schools are equal. I would say even the poor ones are better than public school. Do your research. You're supposed to set a legacy for the generations to follow. Grandparents, hey, I'm saving this money. I'm going to be able to give this to my children and my children's children. You'd be better off spending some of that money and getting them into a private Christian school if you could. I'm going to step off the soapbox now on that one. Oh, I did pick up this sweet cup though. Anyway, another thing that happened last night that I was meant to put in my sayings that bother me segment that I had a while back and I forgot about it when I was writing it down. Two things that many people say that are ridiculous and I want to make fun of them, and sometimes I do. Here's the first one. Hey, if you need me, I'm going to be in the backyard. Okay. What if I don't need you? Where are you going to be? Or, for those of you who haven't met me, my name is blank and I am the blank. Well, last night, a person who I have great respect for, a doctor, a real doctor, not like Biden's wife, I mean a real medical doctor, headmaster of the school, incredibly intelligent person. I don't know him that well personally, but I have serious respect for him. I have so much respect for him, even though he's never been to the library and cigar lounge. He does have his own coaster, okay? He said last night that for those of us who hadn't met him, he was, he did Alex Arguello, the headmaster of the school. Well, I had met him before, so who was he to me? Okay? Don't say for those who haven't met me. If you're going to introduce yourself, introduce yourself. The people who know already know. The people that don't, that's who you're introducing yourself to. Pastor Justin Dean, who has been in the library and also has his own coaster, but I don't think he had his own coaster when he was here. Anyway, he says on Saturday, he introduces himself and he says, I'm Justin Dean, or Pastor Justin Dean, the lead pastor here at Sacred City, which is true. So the new people now know who he is, but he doesn't qualify it. This is who I am. Does that really matter at all? No, it doesn't, but it just irritates me. Or makes me go, why do they say that? But anyway, now, off that soapbox. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming, which I set over here. Let's see if my cigar's out yet. 4 minutes. Yep, Joel. I made it. It probably didn't make it 4 minutes. But, Joel Bickford, who I just mentioned, he also has a coaster. There is one other coaster for someone in Sacred City Church, but I'm not going to say who it is. You'll have to figure that out yourself. What I'm going to talk about is cheating in sports and how I think there's different levels of cheating. First of all, cheating, bad. All cheating, bad. When I do the different levels here, I'm not saying, well, this level of cheating. No, all cheating is bad. It's completely against what sports is about, what competition is about. But there's different levels of cheating and different punishments, and people try to group, now that we're all inclusive, well, cheating is cheating and all cheating should get the same punishment. No, it shouldn't. And sometimes cheating doesn't get the punishment it should get because of who cheats, okay? Let's say it's a college, for instance, or a university that makes millions and millions of dollars for the NCAA. Guess what? They're not going to get the same punishment. Now, we're going to talk about that a little bit. First of all, let's talk about the history of cheating in American sports. The first big one that came out was the Black Sox scandal, which happened in 1919, I think. Yes, 1919. What happened was Kaminsky, the guy who Kaminsky Park was named after, who owned the White Sox, was a cheapskate and apparently a not nice person. He way underpaid the White Sox at the time, who were a very good team, and deplorable conditions. He was just raking in the cash. Now, for those of you young kids, which is anybody under 40, this was before free agency. There wasn't always free agency. A team signed you, and that was your team. They had the reserve clause. At the beginning of when your contract was up, they would send you a new contract. Hey, Dave, here's your contract. We're going to pay you $7,000 next year. I had two choices. I could play for $7,000, or I couldn't play. Back at this time, and even up into the 60s, many baseball players had jobs in the off season to make ends meet. Now, it's ridiculous to you people like 40 and under where everybody, minimum wage, I think now is like $300,000 and most of your starters are making $1 million. That wasn't the way it was. There were many people making more money than baseball players. Right or wrong, that's just how it was. So what happened was the White Sox were probably the best team. They were playing Cincinnati Reds in the World Series. Some mafia guys got to some of the players on the White Sox, allegedly, and the White Sox amazingly lost that World Series to Cincinnati. They were heavily favored. So if you bet on Cincinnati and you knew a little something, you made some money. Well, they figured this out. Big scandal. Before this, there was no commissioner of baseball. There was like a baseball, I don't remember what they called it, National Baseball Commission, which was a group of owners. Anyway, this goes to trial. The White Sox players in a court of law were found not guilty. As many people know, not guilty does not mean innocent. It means they couldn't prove they were guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Anyway, baseball gets a commissioner, Judge Landis. He suspends everybody, including obvious Hall of Famer at that time, Shoeless Joe Jackson. You may have seen the movies. They were suspended for life. When that happened, everybody realized, wait a minute, with all the gambling in sports and all the money changing hands and all the chances there are for chicanery, baseball came up with a rule, solid rule, no betting on baseball. Period. That was the rule. No betting on baseball. There was no clauses or little things you could look under. Very simple rule. It was kind of like thou shalt not kill. You don't have to. No betting on baseball. Okay? Fast forward 65, 70 years, Pete Rose, one of the top baseball players I've ever seen, Charlie Hustle, great ball player, became the manager of the Reds. He was a decent manager. Uh, Old Pete had a gambling problem. He gambled on baseball. He admitted that he gambled on baseball. After a while, like most people that are cheating and get caught, they deny it at first. He denied it first. Um, they had a whole report done on it by, can't remember the name of the guy. Got it written here. Should be the Dowd report. I don't remember who Dowd was. He was like a retired judge, a retired FBI guy. I don't remember. I knew at the time. But anyway, he did this like 600-page report. He found out, as Pete Rose had by then admitted, that Pete Rose bet on baseball. He also, in the report, it states, no evidence was discovered that Rose bet against the Reds. So, Pete Rose didn't play. He was the manager of the Reds. He did not bet against the Reds. But he broke the rule. No gambling on baseball. So, he gets suspended for life from baseball. Okay, that's the rule. He broke the rule. He did not cheat, though, at the game of baseball. Okay, no games, because it's found that he did not bet on the Reds. No games, the outcome of the no game changed due to Pete Rose betting on baseball. Especially games not involving the Reds. If he bet on the Yankees versus the Red Sox, he did not cheat the game of baseball. He broke the rule and was punished, what I think, properly. Now, I would have given him like a 10-year ban or something. I don't think I would have done it. But that was not, the rule was not, his punishment was not out of the question for what he did. Fast forward another 15 years, 10, 15 years, you've got Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Alex Rodriguez, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Andy Pettitte, Gary Sheffield, David Justice, all doing steroids, all getting caught doing steroids, all, no doubt, they did steroids. They cheated the game of baseball. They cheated at the game, which to me is worse than what Pete Rose did. Not saying what Pete Rose is good, but these people cheated at the game. Bonds and Clemens were out of, well, Bonds was pretty much out by then. Clemens was out by then. Neither one are in the Hall of Fame. I'm very happy about that. They should not be in the Hall of Fame. Alex Rodriguez was still in baseball, still allowed to play. Mark McGwire, Sosa, Andy Pettitte. Did his cheating help the Yankees win the World Series? Yes. Would have they won the World Series had he not cheated? We'll never know. But all these people, none of them are banned from life for baseball. Yet they cheated the game of baseball, which to me is worse than what Pete Rose did. Which leads us to the next one. Back when I was a young man, college football, there was a Southwest Conference. One of the best teams in the Southwest Conference was SMU Mustangs. The Southwest Conference as a whole cheated more back then than even the SEC did up to a few years ago. Remember when the SEC, all the college football teams that won the national championship were from the SEC? Well, why does that keep happening? Did they have the players? Well, yeah, they were paying the players. Now you'll notice the NIL, everybody can pay the players. SEC hasn't won the last two national championships because paying the players, everybody can do that now. So your Alabamas, your Floridas, your Clemsons, LSU, Georgia, they're playing on the same playing field as the Big Ten teams. So I'm not saying the SEC is never going to win again. I'm saying it'll balance back out and one conference won't completely dominate like the SEC did when they were playing. But anyway, Southwest Conference was doing this way before, okay? And SMU was apparently doing it worse, than anybody else, or better, depending on how you're looking at it. it came to a head in 1987. This was after they had the Four Horsemen, Eric Dickerson. They were a great team. They got what was called the death penalty. Now, they did not kill anybody. I'm not saying I'm against that, but they shouldn't have. They shouldn't have killed anybody. They did. The death penalty meant for the year 1987, or maybe it was 1980, I think it was 1987, SMU could not have a football team. Period. They lost all their, I don't know if they lost all, they lost a whole bunch of scholarships. They could not play in 1987. Okay, 1987 was a long time ago. They have never completely recovered from that. Okay? Now, were they cheating? Yes. Were they getting players that they might not have gotten? Yes. But when the whistle blew and the ball was kicked off, they did not cheat at the game of football. Now, I think their penalty was well deserved, and they should have gotten that penalty. Okay? Another one I forgot to bring up is the difference between stealing signs in baseball. Okay? Back in the old days, before there was electronics, not that many years ago, the catcher would put down 1 for fastball, 2 for curve, whatever. They had their signs, and when somebody was on second base, they'd go like, and the pitcher knew what that meant, and that was the sign for what pitch to throw. Well, if you get a guy on second base, let's say I'm on second base and I'm smart, and I see it, and somehow I know the signs, and I see, okay, that's a curveball, and the hitter knows that I know that, so it's a curveball. I look up, I touch my hat, or do something to let him know curveball's coming. To me, that's not cheating. Okay, part of the game. They're using signals. I'm using signals. Then we had the Houston Astros a few years ago. They were using someone in the stands with a camera and radioing it back in and then hitting a garbage can. To me, that's cheating. Now they use electronics to send the pitch out. The catcher's got like a little thing and he hits, I don't know how it works, but he hits fastball or whatever, and the pitcher gets a signal. I think it would be okay and not cheating if somehow the other team figured out how to bust that and you let the batters have, because they're sending signals electronically. If you can steal electronically, fine. But the difference between the guy on second tipping off the pitch and somebody not in the game tipping off the pitch, to me, completely different. So Astros got punished for that. The manager, bench coach who knew about this, all got what I thought was a fair punishment, a year suspension. So now let's talk about the University of Michigan football team. University of Michigan, well, all football teams, college football teams, and pro teams, I think, they'll have signals on the sideline. You'll see them sometimes. They'll hold up a sign, like 3 dudes will hold up a sign, and one of them will be a 4, and the other one will be a picture of something. The other one will be 7. Well, the quarterback or the defensive, whoever's calling the plays for the defense, knows 2 of those are fake. He knows what to look at, calls the play. Offense does the same thing. Sending in signals. Sometimes it's 3 guys waving their arms. Well, they didn't change their signals game to game. Why? Because the NCAA had a rule that you could not film a sidelines. You could not go. So I'm let's say I represent University of Michigan, God forbid, but let's say I did. I could not go to the Ohio State-Indiana game. I couldn't. Each team has to send in videos of their game, showing the field, so other teams can scout, but they don't show the sidelines. Well, what Michigan did for several years is send people to the games to steal the signs off the sideline. Michigan always been a very good team. Their defense was suspect for 2020, 21, 22. I've looked up the stats before, but I didn't look them before this. That all of a sudden their defense got real good. Well, the reason their defense got real good is because they had the signals of the other team's offense. Well, I've never played college football, obviously, and everybody's got really good athletes. So I'm thinking it would be much easier to play defense if I know what the other team's going to do. If I know the other team's running and I'm a strong safety, I'm not worried about the tight end. I'm going in and tackling somebody. If I know it's a pass play, I don't care about the fake to the halfback. It's a pass play. Okay, to me, this is cheating at football. It's cheating during the game. It's different than cheating recruiting. Both bad, both cheating. But, okay, Michigan got caught doing this. They're guilty. NCAA knows it. They said they're guilty. Obviously, they should have gotten the death penalty. Oh, but why didn't they? Because the year it got found out, during the year, Michigan wins the national championship. Cheating. So now, everybody knows that Michigan was cheating. But what a big black eye that would be on the NCAA if they say, okay, Michigan's cheating, they have to forfeit these games. So now, what are you going to do? Say the team that Michigan beat, now they're the national champions? Well, what if I'm the team that Michigan beat in the semifinals? I shouldn't even had to play them. I should have been in that. So it would have just been a big, it would have been terrible for the NCAA. And Michigan makes the NCAA millions, tens of millions of dollars every year with, they're one of the flagship teams. So if you give Michigan the death penalty and not let them play the next year, Michigan should have not been allowed to have a team last year. But we're thinking about the punishment. They think about it, let all last year just go. Okay? The year they should have not had a football team. Now this year they decide, okay, yes, they were guilty. Everybody knows they're guilty. So we're going to give them a fine. And they gave them a fine that sounded to you and me an incredible amount of money, like $30 million. Do you know how much $30 million is to University of Michigan football? That much. I'm sure that some University of Michigan alums still happy over the national championship. Chipped in $1 million here, $1 million there. Yes, $30 million hurt them a little bit, but because of who they were, because of circumstances, they cheated at football, did not get punished. Yet SMU cheated at recruiting, not at football, and they got the death penalty. All I'm saying is, cheating is wrong, but let's treat every team the same. I guarantee if, let's just pick a rant, if Prairie View A&M had got caught sending people doing this and stealing signs, they would have got the death penalty. If Oregon State had got caught, they would have got the death penalty. If Alabama would have get caught, they would have got a $30 million fine. So let's just be consistent. That's all I'm saying. So, recap, cheating is bad, but if you're popular enough and make people enough money, you can get away with it. This old dude knows, now you know. See you next time.